just rocking beards right now. How long will that last? I don't know, but I think it's dope as hell, for the lack of a better word, that you see like literally this one thing that transcends culture. It's beards.
And I seen my mom struggle. I seen her fight and try to get things, but you know, I always wanted to be the one that was like, look, my you.
Down to my kid, you know, she helped me start this business. I can pass this business on to my kids and their kids and their kids and so on.
Hey, what's going on? This is your boy V. I'm here with our guest, Lawrie. He is a scalp micropigmentation artist.
Yes, sir.
Here, we're at his hair care center here in Atlanta, Georgia, and we're gonna get in and dig into Andre's life. He's gonna share us his story, and he's gonna also share with us what is scalp micropigmentation.
Right.
So with that said, let's get right into it.
Okay, so scalp micropigmentation is this new innovative hair replacement procedure, which by definition is actually a scalp tattoo. So you're placing replica hair follicles into the scalp by using specific pigment for that. This procedure, it can last from 3 to 6 years, and depending on the person or the specific amount of work that needs to be done, dictates how many sessions go into finding your goal and concluding on all the work.
Now, there are a lot of new up and coming and things that are like prevalent, like the hair unit, surgery, if they want to get scalp surgery for their hair. What you're doing is, I find it super unique because it seems like it's a more convenient. There's some convenience involved in it. You don't have to. It's something that's I guess, I don't know if it's cost effective. I mean, you can kind of give us a little bit more.
Right. So it's definitely more cost effective than the other two options that you just spoke of, which is the hair unit and the hair transplant.
Okay.
The cons with the hair transplant are that it may or may not work. I get plenty of clients that come in here that have already had previously a hair transplant, and they come in because it was failed. So they want me to film the areas that did not work. Not only that, they paid, maybe 10 times the amount that this procedure costs. Also with the hair unit, secondly, the hair unit may not cost as much initially, but it takes, you have to go back in and you have to redo the hair. They have to add glue. So all the extra aftercare in the long run costs more than what my procedure costs. And then, not to mention that, a lot of people say that the hair unit is uncomfortable. At some point it will become itchy. Their scalp will be very itchy. And then if they want to go away from that, they're dramatic. I went from a full head of hair to nothing at all. People are like, wow, well this, it's a low cut, procedure's in there, it lasts, you know what it is, doesn't require much maintenance. You come back every 3 to 6 years.
Wow. Now, from what I've seen, it seems like it takes some discipline.
Oh yeah.
It takes some focus.
Absolutely.
You gotta have a sturdy hand. I mean, you're dealing with hundreds of follicles.
Thousands of
follicles.
You'll be putting thousands of impressions on your average client.
I want to hear a little bit more about, Andre, your story, the backstory, from, where you're from to, how do you get here? What was some of the things that you had to overcome to just open up your own hair care center?
Right. Okay, so we spoke about me being from New York. I am from New York. As a child, I lived in the Bronx, and my younger days, my mom, single parent mom, pulled us to Long Island because she thought that was a more adequate living for us. And being that she's a single mom, she realized she wouldn't be around us all the time, so she didn't want us in a city environment, and she wanted us to go to top schools, and the best schools at the time were in Long Island. So that's where I went, played ball, went to college, graduated from college. Then I was tasked with meeting the real world, right? So moving back home wasn't an option for me. So I looked at some of my options and I was like, okay, do I live in New York City where it costs me an arm and a leg? Or do I try to go out there and venture? Now, my mom had a sister that lived here in Atlanta. So I'd previously come down and I was like, man, at the time, I was like, wow, Atlanta's really buzzing. It's young, it's vibrant, and I see people of color thriving, which living in New York City, you don't see that too often, you know? So I thought it was amazing. So I decided that I was gonna move. So I called my aunt. I said, can I stay by you for a couple of months? She said, cool. Moved down, got a job, started rolling, right? So I was working a regular job, and instantly I knew it wasn't for me. I just knew it,
Right.
because I couldn't wrap my head around building somebody else's brand and not my own, and getting paid pennies on the dollar, right? So with no money, no inheritance, no nothing, starting off cold turkey, I had to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this specifically? So I was working a job for years, and then I got into houses. I started trying to flip houses, and I was saving every year by year. I was saving small portions to try to get to that point. And actually, in adversities, when I got to that point, so what happened for me is that we got a salon for my wife, because my wife she grew up with me, and we got her started, and she got into semi-permanent makeup, microblading, and she actually she was a high-risk pregnancy. So she was put on bed rest, and they were talking about my daughter, would she make it or wouldn't she make it? She was going to be a preemie. So at the time I was like, man, we're paying for this place, we're not even using it, and we're in contract. So I said to myself, I was like, this may be my shot, because that's how I look at the glasses, always half filled, not half empty. So I looked at the situation and I thought to myself, because I had previously I'd always been thinking about, man, I should get involved in that field. It's great. It's one of the biggest growing fields in the United States. So I thought about it, and I looked at some different things, and I saw this procedure, and I thought it would be awesome, and I thought I could be good at it. So I took a dive. I decided I was going to quit my job. I started my trainings. I started doing different things to get the skills that I needed to try to offer this procedure. And, when I first started, I didn't have a huge portfolio. So, I had a lot of people laugh at me. I had clients come in that would agree to meet for a consultation, and they asked me how many clients did I work on, and at the time I told them 4 or 5. Man, they threw my paperwork back in my face, walked out.
Wow.
Just canceled. There was many hours that I had thought I had people scheduled, and I just sit here, not here, but the place we were originally years ago. And I didn't even want to tell my wife that they didn't show. She would ask me how it went, and I'd tell her, good, went good. But the whole time, I'm like, man, I'm in trouble, right? So I just stayed with it. I stayed consistent, and I took on the idea that any client who does decide to spend their money with me, I'm going to give them my best. And that was the model I just stayed with. I didn't look at it as a numbers thing, as you're giving me money. I looked at it like, you want to get this procedure done, I'm going to make you look awesome. That's what I'm going to do. And I took every client seriously, and I took them on in that same thinking, to the point where I am today, and I still share the same persona. And I think that everybody who comes in here would tell you no different. And that's just me being honest.
Now, I want to peel back the layers a little bit. Take us back to that time. You said your daughter.
Yeah.
Okay. And you guys were starting. Your wife was pregnant at the time, and you're starting a business.
Yep.
That's a lot. I have a 9-year-old son, so I know that space is
the pressure.
Is very sensitive, very sensitive for everybody.
Right.
And so, what was your mindset to even get through that and on the other side?
Stand or fall, figure it out. They say pressure will do one of the two things, right? So for me, I just thought about it like, just be positive, you know, be spiritual, you know, speak to God, pray about it, and just go do what you feel you should do, because I was tired of working a job. You know, I was tired of listening to all the stuff that they would try to get you to do or tell you how to be, and it's like, I'm doing this for pennies, you know? So when you think about that, you just when you take your shot, you just gotta go with it. You know, a lot of the other outside forces did linger in my mind, but I couldn't focus on that. I had to focus on moving forward and growing the business, and just day by day, every day, going in, hitting the day with energy, being optimistic, staying away from negativity. That was it.
Do you have anything, or did you have anything that you were doing? I know you said you pray and things of that nature, but was there anything specific that you would go through, maybe a list of quotes, or maybe you would read, and there was something specific you would say to yourself every day that kept you at, you know, performing at a high level and kept you positive all the time, or at least kept the energy that you were manifesting positive?
Right. So for me, I wouldn't say that there's any specific thing that I would read like in the mornings and stuff, but what I would do at night, I would clear my head at night, and I would prepare my mind for the next day. That's what I would do. There were things that I would read that would help to motivate me, but I can't remember of anything specific. But pretty much at night, I would clear my mind and get ready to hit the next day with energy. You know, people can read vibes, and people are smarter than we tend to think that they are or are not. And when you are genuine with people, they can sense that. So in my line of work, when I show them my profiles of my portfolio, of the different work that I've done, and they see and they like it, and they envision it on themselves, and they ask me, you know, this is a sensitive topic. Do you think you can perform and do this, that, or third? I just tell them the truth, and I tell them with energy, because I really do believe in myself and my skills and my abilities.
Now, the moment where you had 5 clients, you were building your portfolio.
Yeah.
That is another defining moment, I believe, in your life. Because, like all entrepreneurs, that is the moment where you either quit or you keep going.
Right.
For you, how did you think of basketball, right?
Right.
Right? You're either going to keep staying the game, or you're going home early.
Right.
So, looking at that, and how did you stay in the game?
I would say, like, honestly speaking, when I told certain family members that I was doing this and going from corporate to here, they pretty much were laughing, like, oh no, you can't do that, like, that's not you can't do that. That I remembered that. So I would call that positive revenge. That's what I thought of. I was like, nah, I'm not gonna prove them right, I'm gonna prove them wrong.
When I made the transition from corporate, you know, my whole entire life up to that moment, I was programmed that you go to school, get a job, family, home. When I was making this transition into entrepreneurship, it wasn't so much of me the ability to do it, but it was this here.
Right.
And me making that adjustment from the mindset of a going to work every day to the mindset of an entrepreneur.
Very different.
That transition is like walking across a bridge and you know, of nothingness.
Right.
Because when you go work at corporate America, you know what to expect. You already know what's tomorrow going to be.
Everything. Yeah.
But when you're in the business for yourself,
right.
You may have a client tomorrow.
You may not.
Right? You know what I mean? And so I think that a lot of times that moment of making that transition, you know, it takes, you know, you still have, even when you become an entrepreneur, you still have the resonance of being in a 9 to 5.
Right.
You know, how did you get that off your, like Jay-Z said, dust that off your shoulder?
For me, I think if anybody knows me, I've always had multiple hustles. So it was always within me. I just had to take that step off of the cliff, so to speak. Much like you and my family, I was programmed to go to school, get a job, and I think that often the system today teaches people that that's what you do. But you and I know that, in our opinions, that it's probably better to go into entrepreneurship. And when you have your family and your support system talk to you and that's all they tell you about, you know, go to school, work for somebody else, build them a fortune, work as good as you can to build them a fortune. To me, it just never resonated. To me, it was just like, why would I do that when I can build my own? I don't think that this guy of this company per se is smarter than me, so why can't I build my own? So pretty much that's kind of the mentality that I took on. And then in working and seeing some of the stuff and just dealing with all the things that you deal with when you work a job.
Now, you know, you come from a home, single parent household. I come from a single parent household. You know, your mom had two boys. My mom has three boys. So there's similarities.
Right.
Now, you grew up in New York, right? Different. It's filled with a lot of culture. You a lot of hustle.
Yes.
Right, and it can be also financially, like you said earlier, straining.
Yeah.
Now, how much of that, you know, if you can go back to that time, how much of that helped prepare you? Because you know, your mom, you being the youngest, and your mom working, I'm sure she was working a lot just to make sure that you guys were taken care of. What did that do to you, or how did that impact you? Moving forward, now hindsight is 20/20, and you're here today. Can you reach back and see those moments where, okay, I see how this helped me to get to this point?
Yeah, it definitely helped. You know, because in just not having, in New York City, you can make a 6-figure income and basically be broke. Just because everything costs so much. You know, when you're from there and you're raised there, it's something different than if you're visiting there. When people visit there, they say how great it is, and it's a great city, you know. But when you live there, single parent, my mother wasn't from this country, she's Jamaican, you know, not understanding how this country works, you know, all those different things play a role in me understanding life and how to work hard. And the difference is that how she programmed us to that's what she knew.
Got it.
You understand? So she comes from a system there where that's what you do. You get the most education possibly that you can, and then you go work for someone. But formal education doesn't teach you how to own and be a owner or a boss. And living in New York, you do see people that are doing very well. Very well. Not, you know, they're in the millions, you know, so you start to think, how can I be like that guy? You know, for me, it was motivating. So when I saw certain things, I'd be like, wow, they're doing really wonderful, you know, like it'd be amazing to be like this person or like that person. So that's what drove me. But as far as what I learned from my mom or my circumstance, hard work. I've never seen my mom not work. She's a nurse practitioner. She worked 2 and 3 shifts a day, every day. You know, so one thing I learned is that if you're gonna be out here in the world, you gotta work. There's no free lunch. So, you know, I learned that. I learned how to be consistent. I learned dedication. But all those things I learned, I wanted to do for my own brand. I didn't want to do for somebody else's brand, and then they turn around and give me pennies on the dollar.
If you could talk to me about what does, you know, legacy, what does that mean to you? And talk a little bit about that.
Legacy, okay. So I personally believe that every generation, you know, if you think of from your grandparents or great-grandparents to you, to when you're a grandparent or a great-grandparent, each generation should get a little bit better. So that's what I work toward, creating a situation for my children to be better than where I was. So as far as legacy goes, that's what I'm working toward, trying to create something that, you know, I can help my daughter have a one-up when she gets out here in the world, you know, and maybe even handing her a business, you know. So that's what I think as far as legacy.
Yeah. Now, when you were, you know, 9 years old, and you were out there
Playing the ball.
playing the ball, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Coming, you know, I already know what you were doing at 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, being outside. Sometimes you be playing by yourself, imagining the game, right?
Absolutely.
So, that's, you know, now you know, fast forward today, and where you are today, you know, it's just, you're the same, you know,
Same characteristics.
Same characteristics,
Right.
just a different environment. From, you know, talking basketball, what did you learn? What did you take that you can apply, that you apply every day? To your
Everything. No excuses. Don't backpedal. Work hard. Consistency. Get up. Get going. Do what you're going to do with energy. No excuses. And accountability.
Accountability. Yeah, yeah. Now, is there anything in terms of when you think of scalp micropigmentation that you find that people, what's the one thing, or maybe there's many things that people are just uneducated about when they think of scalp micropigmentation?
I think the whole procedure. The procedure's been in this country for, I think, about 8 years. But a lot of people don't even know it exists. They don't even know it to be an option. So I think, you know, if anything, the procedure in itself is not, you know, known across the nation.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think that many people suffer from hair loss that do not even know that this is an option.
Right. And that's just, you know, you're just tattooing different types of
Replica hair follicles.
Hair follicles.
Yeah.
And do those hair follicles, it's not about the growth, it's about the
optical illusion.
Okay. And just also helping men to feel confident and great about themselves.
Absolutely.
And strong, because one of the things that I've noticed, and you know, we've talked to, you know, dermatologists, trichologists, is that the psychological aspect of it when it comes to hair.
That's it. The hair, it really, you just harped on the hair. Losing the hair kind of kills the confidence. So this procedure helps a lot with building back confidence. And, you know, as we get older, different things start to happen. You start to feel a little sore, whether you played sports or not. You can get out of the bed, you know, your knees hurting, your ankles hurt for no reason. And then, you know, we start to gray a little bit, and also hair loss. You know, these are things that kind of show age, and I think that this procedure is so great because it makes a person look more youthful and makes them feel much more confident. So they're a lot happier with who they are. And I think ultimately that's what people want. You want to be satisfied with who you are. Yeah.
So you come a mighty long way from 5 clients, right?
Yeah.
So in terms of, let's, you know, think about, you know, as far as thinking about the future and, you know, what you're doing, and you're in a hotbed.
Yes.
Atlanta, you're a part of this growing industry, a growing city. You know, where do you want to position yourself with everything that's going on within here in Atlanta?
Just continue to grow. In each step, I think that I'm going to add more staff, and then I think also I'm going to add training to people out there who want to learn the service. I'm going to start training people so that they know how to provide this procedure as well.
Yeah, I think that'd be amazing. 8 years, though?
Yeah.
Only 8 years?
It's been here, yeah. That's it. It's
in its infancy.
It is. It's fairly new.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you.
But it started in the UK. They've been doing it for years over there. But
really?
Here, pretty much about 8 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Andre, this has been amazing. You know,
Thank you.
Where can they find you?
You can find me on my website, ATL Scalp Micro. You can find me on Instagram at ATL Scalp Micro. Facebook, ATL Scalp Micro.
Okay. Instagram, you say?
Instagram at ATL Scalp Micro.
Okay. That's what.
Of course,
really try.
website www.atlscalpmicro.
Awesome, awesome, and they can come in and make an appointment.
Absolutely. You can email me, atlscalpmicro@gmail.com, and that's pretty much it.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you learned something from Andre's life, the way that he approaches life. Very even keeled, has a very positive attitude. He's definitely, he knows where he's going. He knows what he's doing, and I think that that attitude of having a positive attitude to prove those wrong, and I like that what you said earlier, is something that on this entrepreneurial journey or whatever you're doing in life, staying positive and manifesting positive energy is going to take you a long way versus manifesting negative energy. You can't build when there's negativity, but you can build when there is positivity. And Andre is definitely he has demonstrated that and continues to demonstrate that not only in his personal life but also in his business. And so I hope that you guys can grab some great wisdom from Andre. And with that said, this is your boy B. We done gone all in with Andre Lawrie, and I'll see you guys on the next episode. We out.